Hi. I want to, I guess I'll start out with the usual intro. These are meant to be, I guess, like an experience of transition and what it looks like on the way to being transitioned. Um, there are a lot of good videos from like great trans people that are for like once you are there. They could probably show you steps a little bit better, but these are what the steps look like. This is what they sound like. This is kind of what the experience is like going through it. Um, these are intended to be supportive, so if you are not going to be supportive, I guess you could view the content if you wish to. But ultimately, this is supposed to be sort of like someone that was in my shoes sort of a year ago, what they could expect to see. Um, so, that all being said, um, I guess today I wanted to talk about passing and not necessarily like a guide on how to pass, because I don't pass to give that advice, but more the reasons why, for me anyway, passing is important. And I've already said quite a few times, I don't bother with trying to pass at this point. It will happen soon enough. Whenever that happens, it will be here. But as of today, it doesn't happen. So when I get ready, I just try and put my best on and keep putting my enormously oversized foot one in front of the other. Um, so less about tips on how to pass and more to explain why passing is important to me. And I can think of like three easy things off the top of my head. Um, as usual, I, by the way, have just gotten off work. I have to like keep my hair sort of like, I have to put it in a ponytail and like fucking gel it down and shit. So when I take it out, it usually looks like dog shit. Um, but that all being said, um, passing is important to me for, I guess, like the first reason would, of course, be affirmation sense. Like, I know that the world is accepting me the way that I accept myself. Um, that would be one big thing. Another big thing is just for general safety. Like, especially with the current climate going on and Trump doing everything he can to make me non existent. Um, Safety is a real thing. Like when I see cops come into the gas station, I'm not going to lie, it's pretty scary. I never know if an executive order has been signed in the middle of the night, um, which basically means that the cops would then be allowed to just come take me. And they come in there often enough, I just would get taken. Some people might say that's super paranoid, but damn, there's a lot of shit going on in the US right now. Um, so yeah, safety is another thing. I know, like, there was a time probably a couple weeks ago where I was just outside. I was doing my little vape thing, and I just, was popped around the corner doing my vape. I had kind of, squatted down and was leaning up against a wall outside, and a customer was sort of walking up to me, and I happened to be sitting sort of next to a trash can, maybe like a foot away, and dude was kind of coming on, like, he's coming fast. I was on my phone. I forget what I was doing. I think I was like playing a chess game or something nerdy like that. Um, Maybe I was texting my wife. I'm not sure what I was doing, but I wasn't looking directly at him. But I could sort of like see him coming out of like my, like peripheral or whatever. So, um, he doesn't slow his pace at all and sort of isn't walking toward the door. He's walking toward me. As far as like his straight line, like where he was headed. Um, and he ended up just throwing something away and quickly walking over to the door. But in that moment, especially as he got like within a couple feet, I thought I was going to be attacked. Now, of course, in that case, it didn't happen. I don't know if his intention was to be intimidating or if he was just in a hurry or he just walks that way or what his deal was. But for myself, that definitely was a concern. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm getting the shit kicked out of me today. And I don't even know what this person really looks like. I haven't said anything to this guy. Of course, that didn't happen. But that's a real thing. Safety is a real thing. I think someone was killed in a bathroom. Was it like a week or two ago? Just for being trans in a bathroom, and someone saw them go in there and gunned them down. Um, so yeah, safety is a big thing. Um, And I guess the other one would be just ease in life. Uh, I haven't been kicked out of any place for being trans. That hasn't happened. I've been not hired at places. I have been fired from a job. I have been denied a promotion at a job, all because I did not pass. So that's sort of like, life is easier when people just assume that I'm a woman. Um, I don't know how much easier because I don't ever fucking pass. Um, there definitely been situations where like cars are driving and they haven't like seen the front profile, they just see the back and they, will say things that they would to women. Um, these have all been men. Uh, when I was younger and I was like walking home from jobs before I had a car, um, I was always kind of a feminine guy anyway. So like I would be walking home, it would be dark, and there would be a car coming up. This would happen like, I don't know, like once or twice a night even. Like it was often. I think I was living in Memphis at the time. So yeah, they would like stop and ask to give me a ride, and at the time I had a full ass beard. So like they would say some shit and I would just look over at them and it was like they just would take off. So, like that's a real thing. It's interesting to see the world like when they knew that I was like a male, they just took off. But when they thought that I was a female, they were all about picking me up on the side of the road in the middle of the night. It's for people who haven't had that experience, it's super. It wasn't scary for me necessarily at the time, because I knew that they were going to drive off. But it's hard to imagine like a woman being in that situation where maybe they don't relent. So my cat is eating a box. Mr. Kitty, quit that. Quit it. Whatever. He's going to eat the box. He's not actually eating it. He's just playing with it. He has toys. He has 2 sisters. He just is a little dumb. I love him. This is the ginger boy. He wonders why he anyway. So general safety, general just ease of life, and personal affirmation are all reasons why, for me personally, passing makes sense, and why I really would like to do that. So as far as I don't know, I feel like part of me knows that I make more money too. That's a very, very real thing. Like I assume that when I start passing, I immediately become qualified for jobs that I wasn't otherwise qualified for. If I can go into an interview and they really just believe I was a woman, they think I was born a female, all of a sudden things change. Now it doesn't mean that I'm going to lie to them and say that I was born a female. That's not the same thing. And I've heard one of my friends, I guess when I said that, I wanted to pass as a woman, he had never heard the term stealthing before. And stealthing is basically where I go about life as a woman, and people don't know that I'm trans. That's stealthing. And the 3 reasons I gave are 3 very, very solid reasons why trans people do that. And it was interesting because my friend said, when I see a woman with a bunch of makeup on, or if I think about a trans person who I didn't know was trans until they said it, I feel like they're trying to deceive me. Why were you hiding something from me? And I was interesting because my response to that was well, I don't feel like I'm deceiving anyone. I'm not there's no malicious intent. There's no, I have no agenda about that. I am not after anything. Nothing, there's no exchange of possessions. I don't get anything for that other than the 3 things I mentioned. And he looked up the definition of deception, and it does imply that there's something, I think that's the word I used, that I'm not up to anything nefarious. That was the word that I used. I don't have nefarious intent for doing that. It's not like I'm trying to trick people and get some, again, there's no alternative motive. It really is just as simple as I have put it. So I thought that was interesting that to some people that may not be informed on stealthing or why we're trying to pass, and maybe even once they do, like, they hear it and they're like, okay, well, that makes sense. That doesn't mean that they actually understand what that's like. They don't understand what it can be like in a world where some people just have it out for you. And I don't think that's the majority of people. I think that there is a large voice against trans people. It's the same voice that was against colored people in America, the same voice that was against women's rights, the same voice that was against gay rights. It's just manifesting as trans people right now. So it was an interesting look for me at how someone who doesn't know the trans experience, is not well versed in anything trans. I know that the information he had was very right-wing centric, and I think for a lot of counts not well-founded. I think that he was misinformed. I know he was misinformed on a lot of it, and I don't say that to like shit on him either. We conversed back and forth, and we had a good dialogue. There was no like hate intended. We were just talking. So, that was interesting for me to think that like people really just think I'm trying to deceive them. And especially like I'm married, right? And I'm not into men. So deceiving them, I literally gain nothing out of that personally. I get nothing. So it's not about deceiving anyone. It's not about trying to make people think that I was born a woman. I'm never going to be. It's never going to happen. Unless it turns out that like we are born again and like I'm going to die and I just get born by somebody else, unless that's how it works. Which I'm not here to make a claim about either way. Obviously, I don't fucking know the answer to that. No one does. If they claim to know the answer to that, that's a good sign that they're full of shit. But, for me, it's literally just about, I think at the top of the totem pole is just how I feel. It's not about tricking people. It's about feeling affirmed from other people. They're going to treat me the way that I want to be treated, right? The golden rule. And I heard a better rule for that actually, which is treat others the way they want to be treated. That's a better rule. And I happen to think it was quite good. I like that rule. Something I heard like last week. So for me, I think that's a lot of what passing is. It's not an act of deception. I mean, I guess in a sense, like the same thing I said to him, in a sense, yeah, I am attempting to fool people. I am trying to fool them that I was not born a man. And I'm validating how I feel inside with my outward appearance and how I sound and how I'm behaving. And if I do a really good job at that one day, they will believe I was born that way. So, yeah, I don't know exactly, I don't know that, again, I have a whole lot of answers, but to someone that is trying to figure this all out, that's kind of where I'm at with it. That's been my take on it. There's a lot of good videos out there for people who are looking for tips on how to pass. Again, I will reserve that for those people. I watch them a lot. There's just a lot of really good content and tips that I've picked up, and I could parrot a bunch of things that they said. But the biggest thing I found in my life is that for absence of passing, again, I will keep on saying it, just be confident, own your shit, put on your best, and people that are going to be in your corner will be in your corner. Those that are not going to be in your corner will not, and there are going to be people who don't give a fuck. And at the end of the day, it's really about the trans person. How do I feel about it? I'll pass one day. It's fine. In the meantime, I'm doing my best, and that's all I can do. Again, I wish there was a bumper sticker for me that I could just put on the back of my fucking head, as if this wasn't all obvious enough, that student driver, student trans person, So that's my sort of like bit on passing. Why I want to pass. I think I'm probably speaking for a majority of trans people on why we want to pass. Um, and hopefully that sheds a little bit of light for someone who doesn't understand or is trying to figure that all out or feels deceived by a trans person. I'm sure there are points at which people actually attempt to deceive people. I can't speak for them. I'm only speaking for me. Um, and my personal feeling is that I am not trying to, I never will tell someone that I was born a woman because it's not true. And I value the truth quite a bit. That's important to me. So I also feel like if I lied to someone that way and said, "Oh yeah, I'm biological woman," at that point I should probably expect a backlash when people find out that I'm not. Like, why would I say that? Um, and I guess the last point that I'll throw in here is that I definitely pass for a trans lady. I'm not going to pass as a biological female at all, but I do pass for someone who is transitioning. Emphasis on ing and not ed at the end. This is a present tense. I am transitioning. I am not transitioned. So for someone looking to affirm themselves who is early on, go for passing as a trans lady because the bar is set a lot lower, a lot lower. It's not hard to pass as a trans lady, as you can see. People that I meet assume I'm trans. I am dressed the part. I sound the part, as in, like, there's something that sounds strange about my voice. My appearance isn't quite all the way there yet. My mannerisms and my behaviors aren't quite all the way there yet. I see that they're making progress, and I guess, yeah, one more last thing is that it's about making small steps. There is, like, a long fucking checklist if we would, like, literally write out every single thing and micro little bit that goes into passing. Like, for example, when I bend over to get something, I think about that, right? Like, ooh, did I fucking show man right there? When other people bend over to get something at work, they're not thinking about it. I saw my boss today, like, say bye to a customer, and, like, he was looking at his phone. He didn't really even make eye contact with him. He just kind of gave him, like, a little look and, said his bit that he's supposed to say, and didn't even articulate his words. Like, it was, like, clearly he was not thinking about it. Whereas when I say goodbye to a customer, there's a lot of things going through my head at that point. How do I sound? How am I standing and behaving and things like that? Like, that I'm really overthinking a lot of things. So I think advice I would give is that don't overthink as much. In my case, it's like, I have, "Hi, Mr. Kitty. Hi, sweet baby. This is my little honey girl. Hi, honey. Show your cute face." Okay, that's fine. You don't have to. So in my case, there's a lot of behaviors and things that I have wanted to say all my life and ways I wanted, like, all that stuff, right? The way I wanted to dress. I suppressed all of that for a long time. And some advice that I heard from someone is to, "Hi, Mr. Kitty." The advice that I got was to behave naturally, like the way that I have always wanted to behave, let that show. So it's been a lot of embracing myself. She loves to rub on this. She will just rub on anything that I'm holding. Like the cheek rubs. She's so aggressively affectionate. So I think I have to tend to my cat right now. But that would be the one bit of advice I do have is don't overthink it, probably the way that I do. And take the tips that people give you online, and just act the way that I, like, in my case, I've always wanted to act, stand the way I've always wanted to stand, and, wave to people the way I've always wanted to wave. So with that, I'm going to cuddle my cat, I'm going to go get stoned, and I'm going to go to bed. Bye. Love everybody. Have a great day.